is going to be the Google form that says factoring by grouping part 1. So you see that one right here?
Is it in the work
for the April 20th? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, I see that.
Okay, so basically what we're going to do with this one, and I'm going to walk you through an example to make sure you know that we're in good shape. So I want you to go to that. That's the first assignment I want you to do. And
where it has like you writing on like the
right here.
whiteboard.
Yes, ma'am, right there. Exactly. All right, so and this is one of the ones that's going to tell you if you're right as you're doing it. Okay, so you'll be able to tell. But we're going to work through one together first, so that you've got an idea, and then so we're looking at. So you've got those steps written in front of you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
step 3 is find the common binomial.
Yes, ma'am. So we've got a brand new problem that we're looking at right now. And so you can see that in this problem, I've already divided it into groups, right?
Yes.
So what I'm asking you for step 1 is to tell me, so what's the greatest common factor for the blue group? So if we just look at the blue group, okay, so let's see if you think you can divide 12 and 9 by 3, and I agree with you about that, ma'am. Actually, you're correct. Okay, you can divide them both by 3. Can we take out any A's?
Yes.
Okay, how many A's can you take out of them both?
2.
Yeah. Oh, good job, ma'am. Yeah, because this one has 2, and that one has 3, but you can only take out what they have in common. So you're absolutely right. You can divide 12 and 9 both by 3, and then you can take out 2 A's. So
Does that go in parentheses?
you do not need to put it in parentheses at all. So the greatest common factor for the blue group, if we've done it right, and here's how you can check. And see up here in the directions, this is important too, where it says use that little arrow button for the exponents. Okay, because when you're typing on a Google form, it won't let you make like the little numbers for an exponent. So to do 3a to the second, we're just going to type 3 lowercase a. I'm going to hit that little, it's called a caret in case you care. So 3a to the second. And see how it's not yelling at me, keep trying, your brain's growing?
Yeah.
That means that we found the right greatest, well, you did. I didn't even have to help you with that. You found the right greatest common factor.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my gosh, of course. And then, so let's look at question number 2. So if we found the greatest common factor for the blue group, of course, now we need to find the greatest common factor for the green group. Now this one's a little bit tricky, so I'm going to kind of help you with this one. So you don't have an A in both of them, right?
No.
So you can't factor out an A. And you can keep trying and trying and trying all day, but you can't divide 4 by anything that you can divide 3 by. The only thing that both of them will divide by evenly is a 1. Because you can't do like you can't do 3 divided by 4, and you can't do 4 divided by 3 and it come out to be a whole number. So the only thing that's why this one's a little tricky. So the only thing that you can divide 4a and 3 by is just a 1.
Okay.
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, I got a lot of questions about that one, and I realized I probably shouldn't have put that one on there. So we're going to type in a 1, okay?
Okay.
And then, so you're going to look at the next step, and so you could tell, which you kind of already knew you did it right because it didn't scream at you, hey, keep trying, your brain's growing. So for question number 3, now we've got those greatest common factors there. So now it's asking us to fill in what's going to be left over after you factor out that greatest common factor. So it's asking me what goes in the yellow blank. So in other words, we're going to take out that 3a to the second, okay? Like we're going to factor it out. And it's asking what's going to be left over in that term after you factor out a 12a to the third. Or I'm sorry, a 3a to the second. So if you had a 12 and you divided out a 3, what's going to be left over after you factor the 3 out from the 12.
I have a 12. You said I have the A.
So we're going to do 12 divided by 3 first of all. So what'll you have left over if you do 12 divided by 3?
Oh, that's 4.
Yep. And then you had, oh, I'm sorry, no, that 4 is not showing up so great. Okay. And then you had 3 A's originally, right? And then how many A's did you factor out?
2.
So how many A's are left over?
1.
So you started out with 12A to the third, and then you factored out a 3A to the second. So 12 divided by 3 meant you had 4, and then you've got 1A left over. So that's what the next question is asking you. It's asking you what's going to be left over out of that very first term. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to type in 4A, because it's asking, after you pull out that 3A to the second, what's going to be left over in the first part right there? And that's going to be a 4A. Double check and make sure we're right. Keep trying your brain. It didn't tell me keep trying your brain's growing, so we know we're right. Okay?
Okay.
Now it's asking me what's going to be left over in the orange blank. So what's going to be left over right there? So I'm going to go back up to the picture. So basically what's left over in the second one. So we did have a 9A to the second, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we factored out, so first of all, we had a 9, and we factored out a 3. So if we do 9 divided by 3, what's going to be left over?
Let's see real quick. 9 divided by 3. 3.
Yes, ma'am. And then we had 2 A's to start. And then how many A's did we factor out of it?
2.
So do you have any left over?
No.
No. So all you're going to have left over in that second term is a 3. So in the next blank, where it says, hey, what's going to be in this blank right here, that's why we typed in a 3. Okay?
Okay.
Because that's all we had left over. Now, the next one is pretty basic, because what happens if you divide something by 1? What happens?
It turns into 1. I mean, yeah, it's by 1.
So, like, what's 4 divided by 1?
4.
Yeah. So anytime you divide anything by 1, it just stays itself. So the leftover part for this one is really easy, because if you started out with 4A and you divide it by 1, well, you still just have a 4A, right? It's still the same thing. So in our next blank, it's asking us what to put in there. And so that it says what goes in the purple blank. So the purple one is right there. So that's why I have 4A, because obviously if you do 4A divided by 1, you still have a 4A. And then it says, the next one says what goes in the pink blank. Well, if we had a -3 and we divided it by 1, 3 divided by 1 is still going to be a 3, exactly. So what goes in the pink blank? A 3, which is why I typed a 3 in there.
Okay.
So it's just asking you step by step to kind of like break it down, if that makes sense.
Okay, and then at number 7, it just broke it down, and then it put it together.
Yeah, so let's think about that for a second. So, first of all, if you were doing this problem on paper, hey girls, a little quieter please, guys. So if you were doing this on paper right now, okay, let's say you found your greatest common factor and you ended up with, this is what you got right here, right? How do you know that you're probably doing it right so far?
Because they're matching the
Yes.
common binomials.
Yes, because you have a common binomial, exactly. So you're probably doing it correctly. So the question is asking you, what's going to go in the yellow blank? So what is going to go right here in this yellow part?
3.
So remember, the common binomial is going to go in the front. So which one's the common
Okay.
binomial?
Right? Would it be A?
Which one's the one that's the same? Which one's the one in common?
4A.
And it's 4a minus 3. It's got to be the whole thing. Okay? So so the question's saying what's going to go in the yellow blank. So right there, and that's where the common binomial goes. So I'm going to type in 4a minus 3. Because that's 4a minus 3 is going to go right there in that blank. And then remember that the greatest common factors go in their own set of parentheses together. So that 3a to the second is going to go right there.
Okay. Write this down.
And then the 1 is going to go right there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, yeah, I tried to color code it to make it a little easier at first. So it says, so now in question 8 where it says what should be in the blue blank. So what are you going to type in the Google form?
The 3A to the second.
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
1
Exactly.
plus 1.
Well, it's just asking for the blue part, so just do the 3a to the second first. And then in the next question, when it says what's going to go in the green blank, then type in your 1.
Okay. So 3A to the second. And then I type in, it says it's wrong.
Are you doing, which one? Are you on question 8?
Mm-hmm.
Did you type in the little caret button? The little arrow?
I'm sorry, I didn't type that in.
It's okay.
Thank you.
No problem. And then you're going to put a 1 in that last one, right?
Plus 1 or just 1?
Just 1 is all you need. You don't need the plus, because I already put the plus in the picture.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Number 10.
So you're doing kind of this. So for the next ones, you're doing this. It's a new problem. So you're starting over. So you'll notice I did the first step for you where it's grouped, right?
Yes.
And